What's going on, guys? Well, today we're talking about these very interesting knives. This one right here is the Quartermaster General Lee 2. All right, extremely cool, interesting knife. All right, here's how the mechanism works. You push down on the base here. You can see how the handle has two different sections, actually three different sections, 1, 2, and 3. This is attached right here as well as the pivot. Alright, as we go to close this, you see how that works here? So lifting it up, fully open, lifting it up to close it. You can do it fast. You can also use the flipper, which is on the back here. But really interesting design, right? This is a knife that I wanted for a very, very, very long time, but I never wanted to pay the $350 price tag that these things cost. This is in titanium with S35 VN steel from Quartermaster. Beautiful knife, very high quality. I may or may not do a review on this in the future, but you know, most of the review is basically talking about the mechanism. Does come extremely sharp. It's an extremely capable, usable knife, and it is, in fact, very comfortable, even though it looks kind of extreme in design. It is very ergonomic. But $350, it's a lot of money. It's up there with all the other, you know, really expensive knives that everyone wants to try. So many years went past in not trying that, and back in the day, let's call it, the Kershaw ET came out, the external toggle, and it was a very similar design in how it worked. Okay, basically the same thing, where we had, you know, the handle was 3 different sections that worked in unison, just like this. Okay, blade shape was a little bit different. Of course, you can Google Kershaw ET if you've never seen one before. But I had one of those. The very first day I got it, I went like this to close it, and my thumb was too far down, and the blade literally came down and sliced my thumb like in half. Okay, just the tip right before my nail. All right, totally nasty. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And I'm like, I didn't even feel it. It just started bleeding, and I looked at it, and it was a split. But yeah, the Kershaw ET, same design, which is pretty cool. These are what the video is really about, and these are clearly the copies. These are the Junlang, I want to say, Junlang. I don't know, you guys can tell me maybe. These are the copies from GearBest, okay? Now, once again, this knife right here, $350. Extremely nice, high-end, semi-production folder. Very interesting design, right? 350 bucks. These, anywhere between $6 and $8. A little bit of a difference there, right? So the first thing I want to do is kind of compare them. Now you can see there's 4 different models here. There's 2 full size, and the full size are the 160-11 models. All right, so if you look here, this is the JL 160-11A. This one I think is the B. Clearly this is all black, that one's all, you know, stainless. All right, so the full size are the 160-11s. And then these, although it doesn't really look like it, these are slightly smaller. All right, these are the 160-10s. Okay, so just a little bit smaller here. They come in a variety of different colors and patterns and stuff. So we have a 160-11 in all stainless and then all black, and I also have one in two-tone. They call this white. I don't know why. I get in the picture, the flats look like they're literally white, but it's just the, you know, the stainless reflecting. So it's just two-tone, but I don't know why they call that white one. In case you like this one, that's what that's called. And again, these are just a little bit smaller. There's another one in the small pattern, which I really wanted actually. It was like all stonewash, but this back spine part was kind of like, I think it was an OD green or tan or something. It looked really cool, but I think it was out of stock when I was, you know, picking these out. But what is the purpose of this video is to really kind of compare these to the real deal. This one, the larger ones, again, more, I think $8.15 is literally what they cost, $8.15. $8.15, $350, right? If you want to try this out just for the design itself, yeah, maybe $8 is more reasonable. However, of course, I think it would be obvious, but they can't compare in quality, okay? All of these Junlang models, I believe, are in a HCR 13 MOV, okay, because they are produced over in China. This one again, S35VN. So of course the performance is nowhere near that of the real deal. Also, the major difference is that the spring, if you look inside the frame here, these are super stiff, okay? These large ones, not as bad as the small ones. The small ones are, they're like unusable. I cannot get these things. It's such a stiff spring. Maybe you can bend it out a little bit, but I can never get these to flip close. It's way too hard. You have to kind of like initiate it and then manually use your hand to close that. Same thing in opening. You can't really get these to totally flip open. So you just have to manually do it. There is some thumb studs here. Now, there is a flipper on all of these models. Okay, and you can see them all closed. It's the easiest one to do. This one I can get to close and open. But you see the flipper here, it not only is it, let me show you in comparison with the real deal. You see how this is extended? There's a little bit of jimping on here as opposed to this one that says no jimping, but just in a side-by-side, it's way too small and not really positioned very well, whereas this one's right there. You can actually initiate this without even touching the frame if you didn't want to, but even if you were on top of the frame, you could slide down and still use this, and it's actually a functional flipper. Whereas with this, there's no way. I cannot get in there. Even if you use the tip of your finger and you got this like funky, weird grip, I can't get this thing to flip out, okay? So the flipper, useless on all these models, and this is the best case scenario compared to, again, these small ones, which are like super stiff. All right, there is no way you're using the flipper. So yeah, just something to note there. So they don't function the exact same way as they should. But with the larger ones, you can use the pocket clip. You can see it comes down all the way over and back up, just like on the real deal. All right, you can use that as more of an extension, so your thumb is out of the way. Because again, when you're flipping this open and closed, you do not want contact, obviously, with the tip of your finger. So you just kind of use that very edge. You flip this open and then close. But again, you can see it's not as consistent as the real deal. Not as fluent, not as easy. This is nice and smooth, as it should be, right? And again, that flipper. Let's look at these closed here, side by side. Real one is on the right. You can see it's tremendously thicker, better, well finished. You can see this is just two, simple liner and then simple, scales. Whereas this is a much more complex design here. So not only is it way thicker, but the design itself is slightly different. All right, you can see pocket clips on here as well. A little bit shorter on the real one. Holding these side by side, at first glance they look identical, but when you're really looking at them, there are design differences here. You can see there's striations or marks on the fake one. The actual pattern is just a little bit off compared to the real deal. All right, and then the same thing with the blades here. If you look at the cutouts, let me do a top and bottom here. You can see this cutout is a lot wider on the real one. All right, and also a little bit longer. The grinds are, although they're similar, they're not the same exactly. Maybe see that with the reflection of light. All right, and also these thumb studs also work as blade stops, whereas these are just thumb studs. So there are a lot of like little minute differences here and there if you kind of, really scrutinize it and look at them side by side. But it's a really interesting design. Again, in using these, I do warn people to be very cautious because a lot of people end up getting that same cut right in the thumb. If you're too close there, you get a little too much meat on here trying to hold on to that, and it's going to get you. Okay, you can see this extends on the back here for your finger, literally for this. Okay, that's part of the design. Fake one, real one's the same thing, extends out. Something I noticed though with the real one is that all the jimping is extremely purposeful. All right, it's actually really comfortable to use. Your thumb and hand just really lock in. You can see it's on the back here, on the front, the bottom. It's all over the thing. All right. Whereas this, the jimping is very useless. You know what I mean? They're just the little kind of rounded bumps. Again, in comparison to the real one, where you have nice, kind of sharper 90-degree edges there that grips the skin. Fake one's very rounded and pretty much useless. Just trying to mimic the design there. But still, very interesting knife. I do recommend, if you guys want to get one of these things, to get the larger one. I've had success with this one. This is the best one of the bunch. That's something, I don't know if you heard that, but when I open this, sometimes it doesn't open all the way. What happens is you get this, where it's almost all the way, and you have to kind of click it open. I did that time. Let me open it slowly. Sometimes it'll open up like this, and when you go to grab it, it'll actually finish opening and kind of clicking in place. Something, again, you know, on the real one, when you open it, that's it, it's fully open. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting. The small ones, they just don't work. Like, they're too stiff. There's no way I can get that thing to work. The large black one isn't as smooth as the stainless one. Sometimes I can get it to close, sometimes that'll happen. Again, it has to do with this spring being so stiff, because that spring that's in there keeps tension so the knife won't open in the pocket. But then also, once it's open, or once it gets to a certain point, it kind of shoots the blade all the way open in that, you know, locked position. Now, what's really interesting to me is that whether you have the real one or these fake ones, if you've noticed, there's no locking system here, okay? Your hand holding this handle is keeping the blade from closing, okay? There's no way this thing is gonna close. And it's not even like a slip joint where it feels like it wants to close. You have to literally initiate pressure towards the bottom here to get that to start to close. So once you facilitate a grip on this knife, it's not going anywhere. There's no blade play whatsoever. All right, and these you know, fake ones, same deal. Even though they are a fraction of the cost, it is still the same strength of, you know, the design itself. This one, not nearly as comfortable in holding it. In fact, all this jimping, you know, kind of just, it tickles the fingers a little bit. It's a little bit uncomfortable, so probably prefer using gloves or something compared to the real one, which with bare hands feels good in hand. But yeah, this design has no lock. All right, so this is technically a non-locking knife, but there is no way this is going to fold once it's in your hand. Very interesting. Also, you know, for the international viewers who have restrictions and can't do locking knives and stuff, might be a little consideration. Again, blade length may be an issue depending on where you are, but just really, really cool design. Now, what's kind of funny to me is that I got these first. I got these with the intention of trying them out and reviewing them. And at this point, I just like the design from the Kershaw ET. I never had the Quartermaster, right? And then by coincidence, a couple days after I got these and started using them, someone had offered this one in a trade. I jumped right on it. I'm like, no way. It is perfect timing. I just got these, you know, copies, and I'd love to compare it, you know, to the real deal. So that really happened to work out nice. But yeah, I mean, first off, if you've ever seen the Quartermaster version, the General Lee 2, there's a bunch of different blade, you know, designs and variations on this knife as far as coloration and finishes and stuff. If you're interested in it and you never knew, hey, is it worth it? It's a very, very interesting knife. If you're a knife collector, this is something that should probably be in your collection just because of how innovative it is, and it is an extremely high quality knife. That $350 price tag, I mean, you are getting a very usable tool for that, as well as a very interesting conversation piece. However, 99% of the people watching this video probably won't fork over the dough for one of those, but may be interested in these. That's why I was so interested in these originally. It's because I knew, you know, for anywhere from $6 and something, $6 and change to $8 and change, that's in everyone's budget. All right. These did take like 3 weeks to come from GearBest because these, I believe, were coming out of their overseas facility. Depending on what you order from that site, certain things are like in warehouses that are much closer to you, you know, whether it's in your country or not. It just really kind of depends, but you can look. Sometimes you can check that kind of stuff to see if you're willing to wait, you know, for the shipping. But anyway, if you are interested in that design, this is totally worth it for, you know, less than 10 bucks. It's crazy, some of the knife prices. I have some other knives I'm going to review in the future from, they're just like really, really great deals. It just takes forever to get shipping sometimes. Sometimes you get lucky. I've gotten packages from them in the past that took a week, and I've gotten packages that took a month and a half. So it's kind of hit and miss there. But anyway, let me know what your opinions are on these knife models down below, the real deal or the fake, the General Lee or the Wannabe. I think I'll make that the title. Sounds good, snappy, right? Snappy little title. So let me know what your thoughts are on these knives. But hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care.